I'd like to explain something important, so listen closely. In this series, I find it very convenient to use the term verb tenses to refer to all these different forms. However, technically, there are only two tenses, present tense and past tense. When we look at and talk about progressive forms and perfect forms, that's something called aspect. Tense can be with or without aspect. So if you study or talk to other people and come across these terms, progressive aspect, perfect aspect, don't be confused. They're just talking about verb forms. Now, as we talk about the future, we need the help of special verbs. Will and be going to fall into the category of modal verbs and semi-modal verbs. That's why will and be going to can be used to do so many different things. To refer to future states, actions, and events. To make plans. To express degrees of certainty. But there are more ways to refer to the future, and that's what we're going to talk about now. We will address progressive and perfect forms in the future. We will talk about future progressive and future perfect in the next lesson. But for right now, as we continue talking about the future, we'll only look at verb forms you already know. Okay, let's move on to this next set of examples. I'm going to tell you that Erik's birthday is coming up this month, in fact this week. And I know that he is going to celebrate his birthday with his family. In fact, his parents are coming for his birthday. They're not here yet, but they're coming. What is this? The present progressive. So here's another way we can talk about future plans, plans already made. Okay, so the parents are coming. And in fact, their flight arrives tomorrow morning. What do we have here? The simple present. Why? Flight refers to a plane, and planes operate on a schedule. When we're talking about an event that occurs according to an official schedule, that future event can be expressed using the simple present. The flight arrives at a certain time tomorrow. It also departs at a certain time tomorrow. So here are two more ways we can express the future. We can actually use present verb forms with a future meaning.
Let me make the difference between tense and aspect a little more clear. Tense tells us about time. In English, we can only really talk about the present tense and the past tense. Why? Because verbs change forms to show tense. Verbs have past tense forms, for example, he played, and present tense forms, for example, he plays. We added endings, we changed the forms to show past and present. We can't do this for the future. Instead, we use modals or semi-modals. Aspect can help us understand the nature of an action or an event. Aspect can combine with tense. In English, we have the progressive aspect and the perfect aspect. We can use either one alone, or we can use them together. Now, when we don't have progressive or perfect aspect, some people like to call that the simple aspect. I prefer to talk about the simple present and the simple past. I think it keeps things simple. Let's talk more about progressive and perfect aspect. The progressive aspect tells us that something is ongoing, unfinished, or maybe temporary. For example, I'm helping Erik promote the new. The perfect aspect helps make a connection between 2 points in time, an earlier one and a later one. For example, work on the conical version has begun. So the act of beginning already took place, and the work continues to now. We can see some of it. Here's another example. When I met Erik, he had already begun to work on the new. So first he began to work on the new, and then I met him. So is there really no future tense? Well, technically, no. It would be more accurate to say future verb forms, or perhaps we could say ways to express the future. However, for our purposes, I still think it's convenient and fine to talk about the past, present, and future tenses. Terminology, of course, is very useful and important, but even more important is simply understanding how to form all of these verbs and when to use them. So from this lesson, I want you to remember that we can use the modal verb will or the semi-modal be going to for the future, and we can use the present progressive or the simple present for the future. More specifically, we use the present progressive to state future events and plans. So it's very common to use the future with be going to or the present progressive when our plans have already been made. We know our intentions. Consider these two examples. He is going to record the song tomorrow. He's recording the song tomorrow. Both sentences have the same meaning. In both cases, the decision to record tomorrow has already been made. We use the simple present to refer to future events that are on an official schedule of some kind. Earlier, I gave you the example of a plane, a flight. Now let's consider other examples. The performance starts at 8 o'clock p.m. His audition is tomorrow. Let me remind you of another way we use present verb forms with a future meaning. You may recall that we do not use a future verb form in a time clause. Use a present form in the time clause and a future form in the main clause. Let me make this clear through an example. Let's say that Erik is going to perform and he's feeling a little nervous. And I say, don't be nervous about performing. After you play for a few minutes, you'll relax. So the verb in the main clause is will relax. After you play for a few minutes is the adverb clause of time. We cannot use a future verb form here. We use instead the simple present. But we understand that play has a future meaning. Let's do a quick check. Read these two sentences. Now think, which of these two sentences can become part of a larger statement? Which can combine with tonight at our dinner party? I'll tell you that whatever you don't choose fits into this second larger statement. As soon as I'll give him the news. Can you make the match? The best choice for the first is I'm seeing him. I'm seeing him tonight at our dinner party. That's something already known, already decided. In the second sentence, as soon as I see him, I'll give him the news. We have an adverb clause of time, and the only choice then is to use a present verb form, the simple present. I see him.
Let's try an exercise to practice all that we've learned about expressing the future.
Practice. Choose the best form of the verb to complete the sentence. Read number 1 to yourself, and then I'll tell you the answer. Answer. Oh no, the camera's going to fall over. Catch it. Here we use be going to because this is a prediction and it's based on evidence that we see right at this second. 2. Answer. When we get together tonight, Erik is going to play his new song for us. When we get together tonight is an adverb clause of time, so we cannot use a future verb form. We use here the simple present. 3. Answer. What are your plans for tonight? I don't know. Maybe I'll stay home and watch some TV. Here, the person is making plans as he or she speaks. 4. Answer. What time does the concert start? Remember, a concert has an official starting time, so the simple present is needed here. 5. Answer. Are you going to stay much longer? No, I'm leaving in 5 minutes. Here, first of all, C is not a possibility because that's a past tense form. Also, A is the simple present, and we're not dealing with an official schedule. This is someone's personal decision. It's their plan to leave. 6. Answer. I have 2 tickets to the opera. Will you come with me, please? This is a polite invitation, so will is our best choice.
That's all for this lesson. I hope you'll join me again to learn more about verb tenses in English. Happy studies!